Alright, wannabe rocker here. I'm going to show you how I do my pre-processing. So I'll try to keep it short and simple. First I'm going to open up PixInsight. And then it'll load with my icons here that I normally use. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to make dark masters and a master dark and a master bias. So let's go ahead and open image integration, and we're going to choose our raw calibration files for our camera we used. In this case I've got 50 bias frames. I'm going to average, no normalization, don't care, linear fit clipping, and no normalization, uncheck generate rejection maps. And we're going to go ahead and generate our master bias. So PixInsight is going to go through and crunch the numbers and make our stacked master bias frame. So we'll go ahead and let that happen. Okay, looks like we have a master bias on our hand. Let's check it out. Give it a good stretch with Control A. And that looks about right. That's how they normally look when I do them. So I'm just going to call this IDK Master Bias. And I'm going to go ahead and save it right on the top level here, default settings. And we have our master bias. Now I'm going to make master dark. So let's go ahead and shade that out of the way. And master dark is made with the same settings as master bias, except I only have 10, so I'm going to change my rejection algorithm to Winsorized signal clipping to better handle it. These will all stay the same, and we will add our darks. First I'll do my 300s. Let's check the result. There's our hot pixels and our dark current for 300 seconds. So let's just call this dark 300. Save, Control Shift S, XISF file, save as 32-bit 754 floating point, and this will be repeated for the others. Alright, and making master darks and master bias frames are really just that easy. That's the simplest one to make. They're both made the same way. Alright, so now that we've got our master bias and our master darks for our exposure lengths made, it's time for one more thing that helps. This is called a super bias. This will model the bias frame much better, as if you had taken thousands of them. So let's grab the super bias process and open our master bias and apply the default settings. Actually they say to drop it down to 6 if you're using 50 or more, so we'll do that, and we will drag a new instance onto that, and we will make our super bias. Let's go ahead and have a look at the super bias. There's the modeling of our readout noise. Much more smooth than this result with 50 of them. You can see the streaks up and down, but you can also see them much better here. So we'll call this our super bias, and we will save our super bias. We're going to use our super bias in the next step. Alright, so now that we have our master bias and darks and our super bias made, let's go ahead and make our master flats. Begin by opening Calibration, Image Calibration, and we will add the files we want to calibrate, which will be all of our flats. Uncheck Master Flat, check Calibrate, make sure the correct dark frame is loaded, make sure the correct bias frame is loaded. We will use our new super bias in this case. I also like to have my pedestal be 0, and our output directory will be new flats, our calibrated flat. So let's go ahead and calibrate our individual flat frames by hitting F6, Apply Global. And in a couple minutes we will have our calibrated individual flat frames. Alright, so we just calibrated our individual flat frames with the image calibration process. Alright, let's go ahead and have a look at one of our calibrated flat frames. So let's navigate to that folder where we saved them, and let's just grab the first one here. Give it a stretch with Control A, and let's look and see if we have any pixels standing out, any hot pixels or weird anomalies. I thought I might have seen one. Yeah, I see a couple of them here. Let's just go ahead and grab this as a preview. So hit Alt N, and let's drag around this hot pixel. Here we have a preview with it. Let's enlarge that preview. This pixel is quite a bit different in brightness level versus the pixels around it, and that could cause a problem when we stack our flat frames, because flat frames are not dithered. Therefore there's less of a chance this will get averaged out. So let's go ahead and open Cosmetic Correction and reset it. We need to add the files we want to cosmetically correct, that being all of our calibrated flat frames. We are going to use Auto Detect. Go ahead and enable a real-time preview and hit Hot Sigma, and note that the hot pixel disappeared. If I uncheck it, it comes back. If I check it, it disappears. Let's go ahead and enable Cold Sigma, and that should work. So let's go ahead and apply these settings to our frames we have loaded here by hitting F6. Except don't forget to choose an output folder. So go ahead and choose an output folder, which in my case will be Cosmetic Corrected Flats, and now I can hit Apply Global. Okay, looks like Cosmetic Correction is finished. The next step will be to integrate the cosmetically corrected files into masters. Alright, so we'll go ahead and close Cosmetic Correction, and time for the last step, image integration of our flat frames. So we'll begin by resetting, and We are going to change a few settings here. Combination will still be average. Normalization will be changed to multiplicative. Noise evaluation will be changed, or weights will be changed to don't care. Uncheck evaluate noise. We're doing about 10 frames, so Windsorized Sigma clipping. And equalize fluxes, uncheck generate rejection maps, and then choose the cosmetically corrected flats. So I'll make my my blue position angle 70 east master flat. Image integration will be done for each of the filters for each side of the meridian. So here's our calibrated master flat. I'm having a look at it close here, and I don't see any outlier hot pixels that will show through. So we'll call this our blue 70 east, and we'll save that XISF file, 32-bit 75/4 floating point. And I'll go ahead and do this for the next set, which will be my blue west. Now our blue 70 west master is up, and let's go ahead and stretch that, have a look. As you can see, move this out of the way. If we compare these side by side, you can see interestingly that the dark patterns have rotated to the other side. However, the dust donuts are in the same spot. So I'll be combining these with the blue light frames on the east and blue light frames on the west respectively. So my process is a little more complicated. Let's go ahead and save this. So there's our blue master flats. I'm going to do the same thing for the red, green, and the luminance filters quick here, so I'll just go ahead and do that. Alright, so now we have all of our master calibration frames. Now we can start our pre-processing of the light frames.